Hello and welcome back to Wargaming with me, Gary. You might have noticed I've not been producing many videos recently. Let me just raise that a little bit. That's for a very good reason. The sun came out and I got a social life. I got to be honest, when the sun comes out, me and the missus, we love to go and see people. We go to the pub a lot, like, sit on deck-ins and such, and generally go out and enjoy ourselves. So that's why you've not seen me, and that will probably continue through the good weather. Whilst there's good weather, you probably won't see me for another couple of weeks, and and whilst I'm enjoying myself, and then I'll do another one. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm abandoning the community. I don't think abandoning is the right word, but I just won't be about. And I've noticed I'm not the only one, and I don't blame people. I mean, in the nice weather, who wants to sit in their garage? Oh, look at this. Look, this is in this. Let me just pull that over. Out. That's better. Hides that. That's a little project I'm doing for my daughter's wedding. Yes, so what I'm going to do today is, so I've explained why you've not seen me for a little while. I'm actually working on two projects at the moment. I'm painting the Babylonian army. I'm also painting the Egyptian army. The Egyptians are, I don't know if you remember, I started, let me just wash this brush out a minute, and then I'll get back to that. Oh, where's me? There we are, bit of tissue. Right. Yeah, so I'm doing some painting for my nephew Frankie. I'm not doing some painting, I'm doing a tutorial for my nephew Frankie. Excuse me. Lovely, light blue. Yeah, so I'm doing a tutorial for my nephew, and I'm setting it up. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm doing the Egyptians for his tutorial. So I'm banging on with that. I'm getting through the regiment, so it's looking, yeah. So, and what I'll do is I'll video as I go and share the tutorial with everybody. But primarily it's for my nephew. Okay, and the other thing I'm working on is the Babylonians. So I'm working on a Babylonian army. And I'm trying to find out more about the uniforms, more about the period, so that I can link it to, do you remember I spoke about Tudiya, possibly the first King of Assyria? So, I want to try and link that to that. So I've been doing that. So, and I thought I was going to also no, sorry, I've gone off piste again. So in order to learn more about Tudiya and the Babylonians and the Assyrians and everybody, I've been reading a lot of material, and I read. I thought, in order to find more about that period when Tudiya was about, I looked at Mesopotamian history. And I thought that's what I would do. So I'll go through some of the bits and pieces I found. It's not loads, it's just bits of it. And I made some notes. So if I'm looking over that, that's why I'm just checking the notes that I've done. I don't pretend to be a historic scholar, but I do enjoy history. So yeah. So and I thought that's what I do whilst I was doing a little bit of painting. So I'm going to set this up to around about where my hands are, yeah, about there. So whilst I'm yabbering on about, I'll just get my glasses on, excuse me. Whilst I'm yabbering on, you can watch me paint very badly the Babylonians and possibly the Egyptians. It depends. See where we get up to. So the first thing I'm going to do with my Babylonians is, I've done quite a lot on these six figures, and I'm just going to start doing a dry brush, just to start filling that in. And then whilst, so can you see that? I'll move that over just a little bit. Now, yeah, so that's not so bad. And I'm just going to dry brush around the blue. So I've put a blue, I put a light blue on here, and then I've done a heavier blue wash, which I'm quite pleased with. I think it's come out quite well, and then I'm just touching this up, so to speak. Excuse me. Yeah. So, and I thought whilst I'm doing that, I'll talk a little bit about the research that I've been doing, and you know, you might like it. Hope you do. Kind of defeats the whole object of doing these videos if I'm doing stuff you don't enjoy. But yeah, so what we've got, like, so as I've said, I was gonna like trying to find out more about the period when Tudiya was about. So I've looked up Mesopotamia, and I've been doing a lot of reading and research, and like, and the reason I'm doing that is it's not just because I want to learn more about it, which I do actually, because it's becoming quite interesting. I want to use the knowledge that I build, the knowledge that I build to organise battle reports, campaign reports, those types of things, and I want to have a historical link to everything I do, because it's historical and I'm interested in history. So I've been looking into the period of when Tudiya lived and how this will impact on the campaigns I want to set up. So that's where that is. As I said last time, he lived in the 2450 to 2400 BC, possibly, which was during the early dynastic period. Now, that's something I didn't know. Well, to be fair, when I say that's something I didn't know anything about Mesopotamia until I started reading about Assyria. And now I've learned that there was a period called the early dynastic period. How cool is that? Let's get some more figures going. Now, the early dynastic period, I'm not, the research I've done is not on that at the moment. I'm just saying that whilst I was researching Mesopotamia, I came across this. The early dynastic period is definitely something I'm going to have to do some more research on, because it does appear that will give me a lot more information. There seems to be a lot more material out there about the early dynastic period around the period that I'm looking to cover with Tudiya. So it says here, the entire early dynastic period is generally dated to 2900 to 2350 BC, according to the middle chronology, or 2800 2230 BC, according to the short chronology. Yeah, great. Apparently, I didn't know this, there's actually two chronologies running alongside each other. Like, this isn't difficult enough for me to find the information I'm looking for. Now I've even got to find out what chronology it's related to. Jeez, can we not just pick a number and stick with it, for Christ's sakes? Anyway, that's that. Oh, let me just finish this. I'm still learning that knack, you know, the one that everybody else seems to have, about being able to talk and paint at the same time. But hey, that's the game. Okay, so where are we? let me just have a look on here. Yeah, so two early dynastic periods, one of course for Mesopotamia, and the other one was the early dynastic period of Egypt. Which, now I did look at the early Egyptian dynasty, just briefly, a bit of skim reading. It doesn't actually cover the same time period. I know. Yeah, so anyway, but it doesn't cover the same time period. I'm not going to go into it. I will at another date, but right now I want to concentrate on the period that I'm working on, Tudiya's time between 2450 2400. So it says, by the 3rd millennium BC, urban centres had developed into increasingly complex societies. Irrigation and other means of exploiting food sources were being used to amass large supplies. Now, I'm not sure what the other type of food sources are. I would imagine we're talking about livestock, because that makes that I think that's a natural progression, isn't it? Yeah, but I'm sure when I start reading more about the early dynastic period, that will cover it. I hope. I certainly hope so. And just get that. Oh, that looks lovely. That feather brushing, or dry brushing, whatever you prefer to call it. It does do the job, doesn't it? It really does. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, that might be too far away, but anyway. I'll be doing all my Babylonians actually in this blue colour, and then be adding a dark red to it to bring out the colours of the figures, because there'll be different patterns and the shields will all be different, but I want a uniformity. I know I've said this before, but I like uniformity, and I know theoretically not all ancient armies had a uniform, but some certainly did, and we'll go into that at a later period. Yeah, so like I say, so they there was irrigation and possibly, I'm guessing, livestock going on. Huge building projects were being undertaken by rulers, and political organisations were becoming more sophisticated. So that's, I think that's quite interesting. I think one thing that I did pick up, which I found interesting, and is probably more to a greater extent truer 50, 60 years ago, but religions were also being used to unify people. Now, that is definitely something which has been used in the past. A lot of things like the Crusades, the the Muslim Islamic thing. Lots of religions have been used to unite people. And so it's no surprise that and when you think this is the so-called cradle of society, it's no wonder that rulers, kings, leaders were starting to use religion to influence the people under their control. Nipia and Gursu were important religious centres, as was Eridu. I don't know any of those places. Something else for me to look up, and I will do. I'll read more about them and find out more about them, because that's something which will be quite interesting when we go further along here. This was also the time of Gilgamesh, a semi-historical king of Uruk, Uruk, I never know if I'm pronouncing this right. It's U-R-U-K. Uruk? Yeah, so, where are we? And the subject of the famous epic poem Gilgamesh. So, okay. So, someone's named a poem, an epic poem no less, after this guy. Which again, I will need to get round to reading. More reading. I'm not bothered. I'm quite enjoying it, to be honest. It's quite a nice, to be honest, the reading is quite a nice break from the painting. And then the painting is quite a nice break from the reading. Yeah, it's alright, isn't it? It works well, I think. Right, okay. Right, the Sumerian king list is also one. Let me just check something. Yeah, so the Sumerian king list is also one record of political history of the period. It starts with mythological figures with improbably long reigns, but later rulers have been authenticated with archaeological evidence. Now, see, now that's what I was going to say. You know about the religion. That's the thing I wanted to get to, because I think, because I am going to be doing fantasy wars as well, and it might be an idea to link the two fantasies up with this mythological king list, the Sumerian king list, with other things that I'm working on. I'll still do that. I don't want anybody who think, anybody who's just interested in history. Good for you. I will also do a strictly historical campaign or campaigns, but I'll also be mixing up with fantasy, which I think works historically in this case because of the Sumerian king list, which clearly identifies mythological kings. Hey, see what I did there? I think I'm getting better at this historical debate thing, Anyway, however, one complication of the Sumerian king list is that although dynasties are listed in sequential order, some of them actually ruled at the same time over different areas. Well, I could see that coming, actually, because we're talking about early periods, allegiances being swapped and found all the time, and it's of no surprise that there would be more than one person from an area trying to develop power. Well, that's no different from medieval times, or any time actually. I mean, that's the way that works, isn't it? People try to accumulate power, wealth and power, and then use that wealth and power to have more wealth and power. So that's not a surprise. What I'm going to do is I'm only going to keep gabbling until I finish this one more figure. Because I am finding it difficult to talk and paint at the same time, and I know practice will make perfect. I know that. But I do want to get on with these Babylonians. Well, all of them, because so now one of the things I have done. Last night I downloaded OBS, which is a grab program. Anyone knows more, better than that, please correct me, and then I will point out my complete humiliation on the next video. No humiliation, who bloody cares? It's only I'm doing the best I can, so I make no apologies for that. But having said that, if you do know, if I've got that wrong, if OBS isn't actually a grab program, please do tell me, and at least I'll know, and then I'll stop saying things which are grammatically incorrect. yeah, so I downloaded that, and what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to start reading how to, like, there's, I mean, the good thing about everything, you know, like this, I always talk about what a fantastic community the wargaming community is, and it's brilliant. But there are so many other communities out there. For example, technology. So I put in yesterday how to use OBS, and loads of videos came up on YouTube. So I don't even have to read a book anymore. Don't even have to read a book. All I've got to do is print the name of something, put it on YouTube, and let YouTube tell me how it works. So the plan is to learn how to use OBS through YouTube, bless them, and then be ready for when Blacktree do their update on their website, so that I can cover that again. Also, to be fair, I think what I should also do is all the other ones that I did, redo them, because they were all right, you know, like they weren't, you know, I'm not going to get Peter's site of the week or site of the month because of them, because they weren't, you know, they weren't that, you know, they were all right. They did what they were meant to do, but they could be a lot better, and I'm hoping the OBS program will help me make them a lot better. So so that's the plan. All right. Yeah, so I'll do everybody's on that. I'll redo all of them. I'm also going to get in touch with some other people as well, other groups and organisations. But I've said that this is all old news now. I've told you this. I am going to get in touch with other people to see if I can, if they'd mind if I review their figures. One thing I'm just coming to the end of this figure here. So, but one thing I did want to just touch on, and perhaps, you know, there are people out there. There are people who will be watching this with a lot of experience of doing YouTube videos. There are so I've said before that the people I tend to review have given me permission to do so, and there was no obligation for me to do anything or not to do anything. But there are a couple out there, and I'm not going to name them. I'm not grumbling about it. I'm just making a point because I'm just saying it because I want to get your information if you've got it. But there were some who said that I wouldn't be able to use anything I did. That I could use their materials, but if I did, I wouldn't be able to make any financial benefit out of it. And that's fine, yeah, and that's not really... Let me bring this up. Hey! So that's not really why I'm doing this. It's not to make money. But should the opportunity come to make money, because I don't try to trick anybody. If anybody, I'm not a rich man. If I was a rich man, I'd have my own flipping studio instead of sitting in my garage. So if there was an opportunity which came up where I could actually earn some money, and I believe, was it monetization? Is that? I don't know if I've pronounced that right, but that is a way of making a little bit of money, which is something I'm considering. Purely so that I can buy more figures. Seriously, buy more figures, or buy a studio. Yeah, whatever. Like, from what I gather, monetization at my level is I'll be lucky if I buy a shoelace. But that's not the point. The point is that if I did make any money, I would be breaking their copyright laws, and I'm not going to do that. Not only am I not going to do that, I'm not even going to take the risk of doing that. I'm just, for me, it's not worth it. If they were to contact me and say, well, since you're going to make peanuts, if that, we're happy for you to review our figures, then I will review the figures. But I'm not going to, not because I'm being tight or mean. I'm not going to because I don't know anything about the law. I don't know anything about monetarisation at the moment. I don't know I wouldn't know when I am and when I'm not breaking their rules. So I think for me it's just best to stay away from it. Now, just stay away from it. But if you guys out there know something that I don't about copyright law, which actually means I can actually do whatever I want, then that would be good. Although I'm not sure, because do what I want. Well, I haven't made that company, so I think it's fair that they have some control over what I put on there. But if you know anything which you think might help me, let me know. Right, so that's me done. I've warbled on for much longer than I thought I was going to. I hope you enjoyed my historical bit. I hope that monetarisation thing hasn't put anybody off. It's something that I'm thinking about, and I thought I'd put it out there and see what you guys say. Reasonable? Reasonable, I think so. Yes, okay. I need to get on with these figures now, so I'll see you all next time, probably in about 2 weeks' time. Okay? All the best. Take care. Bye.